So I would like to invite Srimati Rekha Venugopal to present the paper on behalf of Sri Appu Panikkath, and the paper title of the paper is Unique Particulars from Kerala about Adi Sankara, a brief introduction of Sri Panikkath Nambudiri. He was born in 1944 into the Panikkath Mana at Kattukambal, Thrissur, as the son of late Sri Panikkath Narayanan Nambudiri and the late Srimati Savitri Andarjanam. He completed his BSc at Kerala Varma College, Thrissur, and went on to serve at FACT Kochi, retiring in 2003 as Deputy Chief Engineer. Under his guidance, nearly 300 children were trained during vacation in Gayatri Upasana. After the age of 65, he was blessed to meet 4 selfless Karmayogis, Sri Malliur Shankaran Nambudiri, Sri Shankarananda Brahmananda Swamiyar, Sri Advocate Athrasheri Agnisharman Nambudiri, and Sri Kilimanur Kerala Varma. With their encouragement, he authored Nambudiri Sarvasam, a 14-volume history of Kerala spanning 3,000 years. He also wrote his autobiography, Niyogam, and 2 works titled Nitya Karma. I request Sri Appu Panikkath also to be on the stage. Over to you, ma'am.
I do not know how to begin. It is too late. My battery is down, very down, because I was supposed to be here by 3:30 and finish by 3:50. But everything is upside down now. I have to get back to my place before it is too late. So I just remained because of Sir. I thank everyone who were instrumental in giving me an opportunity to be here before you. Thanks for everything. Now, respected Appu Panikkath sir, Appu Nambudiri Panikkath sir, and respected organizers, and my dear audience. I am here to read the paper prepared by the very famous, a great scholar and author of many books, Appu Nambudiri Panikkath sir, and with your blessings and permission, shall I begin? Okay, here we go. The topic is Unique Particulars from Kerala about Adi Sankara. Here we have a little bit of legend about the Shankaracharya family. Varahamurti was the Grama Deva or Devata or deity of Pannur village 3,000 years ago. In this village, there were about 5,000 Rigvedi, Yajurvedi, and Samavedi Nambudiri Ilams. All were authorities on Vedas. The origin of Paraivetta Pandirigulam was in this Pannur village in the 5th century AD. Agnihotri, who was prominent in them, performed 99 yajnas to sustain the Vedic culture in India. The participants of these yajnas include Aruvanjeri Tamburakal and 8 Brahmin families. They are termed Ashtagrihakas, and among them were Vella, Parur, Muriyat. In AD 6th century, with the help of Chola Perumar, 4 Nambudiris of Pannur village did some evil in the idol to destroy the Chaitanya of the village god Varahamurti. Distressed deeply by this, Vella, Parur, Muriyat families fled from Pannur and those in Kaipalli Illam fled to and settled at Moorikulam in Paravur Kazhagam. The Vella family, including the Kaipalli Illam, about 1,300 years ago, migrated from Moorikulam and settled at Manyapra after becoming victims of the anger of Paravur Kazhagam authority. The Shiva temple known as Vrishagiri Telapalli Thevar is situated at Manyanikad Hill on the Manyapra road. Due to the blessings of this Vrishagiri Thevar, this region flourished and became very prosperous. About 70 Nambudiri families, including Kaipalli Illam, lived there. The Shiva temple, Thripunithura, Mahashiva Kshetra, and Padashala, side headings are given. Shiva temple built 2000 years ago was a Mahashiva temple with 7 boundary walls, 7 gopuras during the time of the reign of Perumal. The Pradishta was 21 feet high and 2 feet broad Shivalinga. It was the then Perumal who also started the Rigveda Padashala. 500 years ago, the Zamarin, with the help of the Dutch, destroyed this temple and Gopuram. Later, that Shivalinga platform was taken to Kochi port and used as anchorage for ships. At that time, the king of Kochi had given refuge to the Gauda Saraswati Brahmins who had fled from Goa 300 years ago. So, with the permission of the Britishers and the Kochi Raja, this Shivalinga was taken out of the backwaters and set up near their Tirumaleshwara temple pond as the Udayaneshwar temple, and more details can be had from Nambudiri Saraswam volume 1. The Rigveda Padashala in Thripunithura was restarted 500 years ago near Vadakanatha temple. The next heading is Adyamba the mother and Shankaracharya the son. It is believed that Sri Shankara was born when Surya and Moon, Jupiter and Saturn were in the Ucharashi. Some say his star is Thiruvadira in the month of Meda, and others that it is Magayiram. Shankara Jayanti is celebrated on Vaishakha Panchami day. Shankara was born to Shivagaran Nambudiri, known as Shivaguru of Kaipalli Mana in Kalady, and Arya Andarjanam, known as Adyamba of Melparur Illam. He was born after praying to Vadakanathan for many years. When Shankara was 2, Shivaguru passed away. After Upanayanam, Shivaguru wanted to go or follow sannyasa, and Aryamba was forced by fate to give him permission for Shankara to follow sannyasa. So Shankara left his mother, promising to be at her side when she needed him, and left on his mission. And as years passed, and as promised, he came to her when the end was near. When the relatives and the virtuous Brahmins did not allow him to carry out the last rites, saying that Sri Shankara had not followed the Kerala traditions in sannyasa, and mother's last rites and other karmas should not be done. They stripped away the Vedic authority of those who were ready to help him, the Talayatum Pilli and also the Kapilli. Shankara prayed, and then he told them that he would do it alone. The pyre was made. They even forbade the lighting of fire. Sri Shankara who had gained the fire of knowledge, rubbed the coir onto his right palm and ignited the fire and did the cremation alone. Then he felt sad at the thought of how he could perform Udagakriya, Pindam, Diksha, Sabindi, etc. An old Brahmin appeared then before him. He promised to help Shankara perform all the Pitrukarmas. They both reached the courtyard of Tiruvallam Shiva temple. Shankara bathed in the Karamana river, performed all the rites to his satisfaction at the instruction of the old Brahmin. The old man disappeared suddenly. Later, Shankara found out that the old Brahmin was Sri Parshuram himself, who had come in his time of difficulty. Sri Shankara, without delay, took the sand and earth from the holy river of Karamana and made a Vigraha of Parshuram and installed it at Tiruvallam Shiva temple courtyard facing north. Shiva's darshan is towards south. Tiruvallam temple is the only temple installed in Kerala by Sri Shankara. Today, this is the only temple where there is Dvaja Pradishta for two gods. Only temple where one can sit facing south and do the last rites. There is provision for doing it at all times. It is believed that when our parents die, Pinda is made in the family. Religious ceremonies are observed. Sabindi is performed. And after that, Andu Shraddha. As the saying goes, it is Illam, Vallam and Nelli. That is the order. Next comes the next heading, Sri Shankara Digvijayam. The translation by Sri Subramanyam Tirumumbu of Vidyaranya Swamigal's Shankara Vijayam, the translation of Sri Madambu Chitran Nambudiri of Shankaracharya Charidam of Govindacharya Kirti, Sri Gandanada Swamigal's Sri Shankaracharya, a short work, Sheshadri's Sri Shankaracharidam published by Kalady Advaita Ashram, Malayalam translations of Sri Shankaracharidam of Dina Dayalji are the only Malayalam books on Sri Shankara. In the foreword, it is said that in writing his book, Sri Sheshadri has examined the work Sri Shankara and Ramanujam by Rajendra Ghosh, who was previously the Sri Ramakrishna Mission secretary and later a sannyasi, and Sri Dana Ganobadya Suri's quotes and about 700 slokas from another original work in Shankara Digvijayam commentaries. In Ullur's words in his book, The History of Literature, there are references to this, or we can say that there are related statements. In those days, widows during auspicious time had to take bath in the river for a month, the lunar months of Magha and Vaishakha. There is a legend that to help out his mother, he changed the course of this river to flow south of the Illapuredam. Then the Sri Krishna temple faced danger, so according to the divine darshan Shankara received, he installed it at its present place. At this time, the Kerala Perumal was Rajashekara Varma. At Panniyur village near Trikandiyur, Acharya Swamigal met Vishnu Sharma, a worshipper of Nyayasimha. He had lost all his wealth in trade and became an ascetic and accepted sannyasa by taking the name Sanandan. Along with him, Shankara went to Badariya Ashram and within 4 years, meditating at Vyasa Guha, composed commentaries for Brahma Sutra, Deshovinishad, Bhagavad Gita, and Vishnu Sahasranamam. Shankara started on his Digvijaya Yatra or journey, and many followed the journey, and the number exceeded 3,000. One opinion is that after making arrangements for establishing monasteries at Jyotirmath near Badrinath, Jagannathapuri, and Dwaraka, and one disciple each becoming the head of these monasteries and the propagation of the Dharma in their respective areas, and made Madhanyayam, and giving it to them, he disappeared at Kedar. Another is that he returned to Trishur and attained Samadhi at Trishur, and his physical body was placed in Samadhi at the Vadakanatha temple. Now we come to the Shankaracharya tradition in Kerala, Swamiyar muds. The place where the Sri Shankara temple is situated today, east of the present Sri Shankara bridge in Kalady, on the northern bank of the Aluva river, also known as Churniyar, Purna Nadi, Periyar, the place where Aryamba was cremated. Kaipalli, Illapurayidam, including this part along with the Purayidam, the place in the northwest of Kaipalli and the place of Kaipalli family deity Sri Krishnaswamy Temple Purayidam is also said to have belonged to this illam. During the Chadurmasya period, sitting in any ashram is a Chadurmasa ritual, composing commentaries on the Badaranya, Brahma Sutra, the Dashopanishad, the Bhagavad Gita, Vishnu Sahasranamam, Sanal Sujadiyam, Lalita Srishadi, and scripting Viveka Chudamani, Sarva Vedanta Sara Sangraham, etc. And during the other 10 months, conducting Digvijaya Yatra and winning the scholars of each region to make them recognize his religion by the propagation of Dharma, the religion of Advaita, or the philosophy of Advaita and non-dualism. While traveling around spreading Dharma, he had an inkling of his mother's last days and went to her side and performed the last rites, as we have seen. Illatodi, where the mother was cremated, is still kept separate, and a lamp is lit every day, and it is specially protected. It was later run by Trishur Tekke where the Shankaracharya temple and the Sharda temple were established by Sringeri Mutt, and that place is under their supervision in the temple complex. Now the Tekke Mutt and the land belonging to it are under the administration of Sringeri Mutt. Together with the 4 disciples, Sri Shankara, who set out for the Dharmajarana, brought Panja Shivalingas from Kailash and installed them each: the Paralinga Pradishta at Nilakanta temple at Nepal, Muktilinga Pradishta at Kedar, Mokshalinga Pradishta at Chidambaram, Bhogalinga Pradishta at Sringeri, Yogalinga Pradishta at Kanchi, Sri Chakra Pradishta at Kanchipuram, and Sharda Pradishta at Sringeri. It is said that it was he who brought Saraswati to Kerala and installed her near the Jyotirlinga in the Mugambika temple, and obtained her promise to be present at the Thekadi Mutt in Trishur on the evening of the 8th day, Ashtami Sandhya of Navaratri. After Sarvajna Pidarohana, the foundation that was there earlier at Trishur, where the Shankara temple is now considered as Shankara Samadhi worshipped by Keralites. There are differences of opinion as to whether the place of Samadhi was at Kedaranath or Kanchi, and Ullur opines that the establishment of monasteries near the Guru's Samadhi by the disciples in itself justifies the reason for this belief. And the next, Sri Shankara Mutt and its temples in Kerala. It is believed that Sri Shankara studied the Sanskrit dramas written by Rajashekara Varma, who was the then ruler of Kerala, and that he had become a great devotee of Shankara. He had built and donated Madapras to stay for each of the 4 disciples of Shankara on the eastern bank of the western Chira, a little to the west of the Vadakanatha temple in Trishur. They are Tekke Mutt, Idayil Mutt, Naduvil Mutt, and the Vadakke Mutt, known as the Swamiyar Mutt at Trishur. Rituals were established by Sri Parshuram for the Nambudiris and the others of Kerala. Rajashekara Varma convened a meeting of the 4 disciples of Acharya, all the village priests, Ashtavaidyans, etc. of Kerala in South Kollam, and discussed each suggestion for ritual reforms in detail. It is thought that the improvements agreed upon were codified and made effective from the first month of Chingam. The day was fixed as the auspicious Muhurtam according to his chief astrologer Govinda Pandidar, and that day became the first day of the year in Kerala. Till then, sannyasa was received from a certain guru along with ritual. The person lived in a place as a bhikshu and performed chadurmasyam connected to some temple. It was further stipulated that it should be in the lineage of Sri Shankara, and accordingly 4 persons were given sannyasa by each disciple, and after making arrangements for them to live in those monasteries in Thrissur, the disciples of Sri Shankara returned to their respective monasteries. The disciple of Padmapadacharya stayed in the southern monastery, the disciple of Todagacharya in the Idayil monastery, the disciple of the Sureshwaracharya in the Naduvil monastery, and the disciple of Hastamalagacharya in the northern monastery. The arrangements were made in such a way that one became the senior Swamiyar and the head of the mud in the order of seniority of taking sannyasa and discipleship. The disciples were called Pisharas. In the north, near the Trichambaram temple, each monastery was built to accommodate these 4 lineages, and arrangements were made to perform floral offerings at the temple in north and to propagate dharma. After the defeat of at the hands of Cholas in the war, the 5 minutes. The last of the Chera, Perumal, Revivarma, Kulashekaran resigned the position as Chakravarti, and the rulers of each region became independent kings. During the reign of Marthandavarma, a new Idavil mud or Trikakara mud, a new mud was formed, and that is Munchira mud with traditional lineage. The Vadake mud properties, except for the Malappuram at Trichambalam, all the properties and mud were donated at Changaliyod Vadyan for the study of Vedas for the students of Thrissur. Subsequently, Vadake mud and its properties became the Rigveda school, now known as the Thrissur Brahmaswam mud. The Tekke mud in Thrissur have Madaprams and also about 12 Devasams, and there are many temples like Thripunithura temple, Pulapata, Kutala temple, Kallur temple, etc. Altogether, 18 temples are there. It is also said that the king of Kochi exchanged Vaitila temple and the Attur temple. There is also Alur temple and Madapuram near Kecheri in Thrissur district. In the earlier days, scholars were housed close to Swamiyar Madas, and the residents were trained in the 3 systems. All this came to an end with the enactment of the Land Act of 1970. In Thrissur, during the Navaratri, Saraswati Jabam and Vakyartha Sadas used to be held by Vedic scholars. Now, only on the day of Ashtami Sandhyas, Saraswati Jabam is conducted after dusk, followed by special pujas, Varamiripu, each in each monastery. Mupil Swamiyar, who was the head of the mud, and there were 8 to 10 Ilamura Swamiyas in the Madaprams. Villumangalam Swamiyar, Perungulathu Kapra Swamiyar, and Nageri Swamiyar, the stories connected to them are well known. So, for want of time, I conclude. He says, we hope and pray workshops like this will inspire people, young and old, to learn, study more about Adi Sankara and his tradition of Hindu Dharma, the Advaita philosophy, the non-dualism, and help to stand united and safeguard the Hindu culture. Jai Bharat, Hari Om. And before that, I thank all who are instrumental in bringing me here to be a part of this particular workshop. I thank you all from the bottom of my heart. So, I, G. Rekha, sign off. Bye. Hari Om.